Okay, exhale everybody. It's finally over. Man, did we need that. I'm going out there and saying that this game may have gone as well as it possibly could have, and I know the Canadiens ended up losing, and the majority of my fan base here that'll watch this video is Montreal-based. I get it, the Sens fans in here are going to be like, yeah, well, we won, so we're great, right? But at the end of the day, it's not about winning and losing. What this game I felt was about was mostly surviving. And being able to see another day after a game that many people thought had the potential to being a total bloodbath. Martin St. Louis scratched the entire top line of the Montreal Canadiens heading into this one. The Habs ended up making some roster call-ups. This morning we saw they called up Brandon Gignac, Lucas Condona, and William Trudeau in order to play in today's game against the Sens. Yeah, who would have thought that William Trudeau would have played in the last preseason game for the Montreal Canadiens in 2024-2025? It just did not seem like something that was possible. Then you go over to the Ottawa Senators and you read about their situation. Sure, they released Calen Addison from his PTO, but they also called up a ton of guys throughout the week, leaving Cole Reinhardt in the lineup for today's game against Montreal. Not to mention that this game did not feature Tim Stützle nor Brady Tkachuk either. You kind of recognize that for a preseason game, there were a lot of emotions that were definitely present, albeit in an underlying capacity. I was kind of heading into this one thinking, okay, as long as both teams walk away scot-free, no injuries, no devastating Brady Tkachuk, Cedric Parekh-like incidents, then everybody's going to walk away happy. Maybe the Sens fan base is walking away happier than the others from this one because the Ottawa Senators defeated the Montreal Canadiens 4-2, including a hat trick for one Shane Pinto. Yeah, there is a lot going on here for the Ottawa Senators offensively, especially in the first half of the game. But let's go over the goals, let's go over some of the stories, and talk about as well just what this game kind of means for the Montreal Canadiens and what we can see. Because starting things out with the goals, I mean, Shane Pinto's first goal of the game came literally 40 seconds into the entire contest. It was out of nowhere. And this was one of these plays where you acknowledge the Canadiens lineup isn't the best in this one. They end up giving a bad turnover in the defensive zone. It led to a bad turnover. The shot was thrown on goal and Pinto was there for the rebound to walk around Montembeault and make it 1-0. Not really the best play there out of the Montreal Canadiens trying to break out of their own zone. But with the caliber of guys in the lineup, you can't really blame them too harshly, I would say. Shane Pinto then got things going again 5 minutes later with a wrist shot on the power play. This was a really good play, I felt, by the Ottawa Senators. It was a two-man advantage. We'll get into the penalties and stuff a little bit later into the video, but Pinto ends up deflecting a Jake Sanderson shot from the point right by Samuel Montembeault, and that's it. 2-0 is the score here. It stays like that for a while. Montembeault had let in 2 goals and like 5 total shots. It was really not a great showcase out of him, statistically speaking, although I don't really want to blame him for a goal where the rebound is loose in front and Pinto walks around him, nor a goal where it's a tip-in in front, because goaltenders generally have tough time stopping those. Either way, though, the Canadiens don't go down without a fight because it's Christian Dvorak who makes it 2-1. He adds the 1 for Montreal with 1:15 to go in the first period. It's a pretty good rush opportunity here for the Habs. The puck ends up on the corner of the net, and Brendan Gallagher's jamming away at it. Eventually, it squeaks free in front for Christian Dvorak, who's right there on the doorstep and who puts the biscuit in the basket. Second period comes along, and the Canadiens go down once again. A 22-second goal at the start of the second period from Michael Amadio. This is another one of these plays where it's like, really? The Ottawa Senators score that quickly into the frame? It's hard to get too frustrated considering whom the Canadiens were playing, but still, the Sens had a really good time creating offense in this one. It's thrown back to the point, tossed out in front of the goal, and Michael Amadio was there to tip it in. And then you had yourselves the Shane Pinto hat-trick goal scored on the breakaway, shorthanded. So yeah, the Habs not really doing a good job settling things down on the man advantage. They were 0 for 2 at this point of the game, but a pass back over to the defender gets fumbled a little bit, and Shane Pinto was there to free things up, walk right in on Montembeault, go backhand, and score another beautiful goal. 4-1 Ottawa at this point in the game. The only other goal that's scored is scored by Arber Xhekaj in the third. This was a beautiful one-time bomb of a slap shot that actually goes in a pretty weird way. Oliver Kapanen and Cayden get the assist here. Guhle throws it over. Xhekaj the shot. It hits Cole Reinhardt right in front and ends up deflecting across the body of Linus Ullmark. It goes right through him. It's kind of a fluky goal, a knuckler if you will. But Arber Xhekaj, we've heard his name so many times when it comes to the Ottawa Senators and the games against them. He ends up scoring a goal here to finish off the Montreal Canadiens preseason. And that's all she wrote with a score of 4-2. Now, I did say that the best part about this game was that these players and these teams, they survived without too many significant injuries handed out to important guys. That doesn't mean the game was without its faults, though, and without its physicality. Because in the first period, you already had yourselves a fight between Arber Xhekaj and Zach McEwen. It took 1:27 for these guys to drop the gloves. You then had a whole bunch of other penalties and roughing calls in between there. Cayden was getting into it with Ostapchuk. There were some brawls in front of the benches there. Definitely not ideal, but considering the context, considering the previous game with Xhekaj, Brady Tkachuk, and everybody else there, look, this is pretty tame compared to that, and I think that's all that we could have hoped for out of this game. The rest of the game onwards, from the second and third period to the end, I would say was a lot more tame. The only penalties that were called were regular old holding, tripping, too many men, and delay a game penalties, so not really the most aggressive calls that could have been made. But ultimately, the Habs escaped this one with a few notable performances out of guys that we expected to be okay. Arber Xhekaj, I felt, had a pretty reasonably strong game. We know what he's capable of, and we always get excited to see him score goals. Cayden in his first game back actually played pretty well, I felt. He definitely didn't look too out of place, and he was getting involved physically too, which you definitely like to see. It's encouraging for a guy who just had his appendix removed. Yeah, the fact that he's already playing hockey and doing what he's doing. Yeah, I'm starting to think this guy's a freak of nature, but then again, most NHL players are. Other than that, though, I feel like the biggest story for Montreal Canadiens fans was the power play, because the power play sucked in this game. Ay. Sure, I did like some players. I thought that Oliver Kapanen was okay. I thought that Adam Engstrom actually does have some good mobility. But man, he's no Mike Matheson. He's no Lane Hudson. And a lot of these guys on the power play definitely needed to kind of let the play breathe a little bit before trying to force offense. Anyways, the preseason from hell is finally over, folks. Now, all we gotta do is just pay attention to the rest of these games, try to see what happens with Patrick Laine, his development, and whether or not he's going to be able to return soon. Raphael Harvey-Pinard is still a guy. He exists. And a lot of Canadiens fans are going to be paying attention to what happens the next time the Habs and the Sens suit up. Of course, though, for Ottawa, another good note out of them. Shane Pinto, hat trick. Awesome to see that. Jake Sanderson getting involved offensively, too. There were a lot of good performances here out of the Sens, and I thought Linus Ullmark, despite the fact that he led in 2 goals, was very, very solid. He had a .920 save percentage. What am I saying? Of course he was solid. Anyways, if you're a Canadiens fan or a Senators fan, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the 2024 preseason and everything we had seen in this game and the preseason in general. What stood out to you in a positive way? What stood out in a negative way? Any things that you think either team should improve on heading into the regular season? Which guys are you most excited for based off of these preseason games? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.